the stop and frisk law is as important as it is the change of the law is only the tip of the iceberg in fixing our deeply Dickensian justice system.
Mayor de Blasio, Public Advocate James, Comptroller Stringer, to help set captives free from all the vestiges of bondage and limitations upon who we are and who we can be. Let the plantation called New York City be the city of God, a city set upon the hill.
This is New York. We will no longer stay silent to this classism. No more brownstones and brown skin playing tug of war.
So much for bringing the city together. Those comments, some of the more biting ones from the inauguration ceremony for Bill de Blasio on Wednesday. You didn't even hear from the public advocate there, raising eyebrows and generating some very tough questions. And Andrew, wasn't long until people sounded off about it.
Well, there's been a lot of people sounding off about it, but we'll take it from Peggy Noonan's column in the Journal as a representative of the sample. She called de Blasio, after just one day, New York's divider-in-chief. And here's the meat of her column. She calls New York's new mayor, if you see the bottom of this quote here, from our new mayor, we got the snotty sound of us versus them, of zero-sum politics. Now, you heard some of the comments that were uttered on the stage at the inauguration. De Blasio was asked about those comments yesterday. His response, quote, I am very comfortable with everyone's remarks yesterday, and I think the ceremony represented the positive aspiration of New Yorkers for a more just city. Rich?
All right. Dominic, first off, just from if anybody wonders, forgetting that de Blasio said he was fine with everything, whoever the mayor is, he knows who the speakers are. They know what they're going to say before they get there on the stage. So whether he said it or he didn't, he owns what was said on the stage unless he condemns it later. Okay. And secondly, this is an SOP at these things. There's usually a nod to the predecessor. There's usually, out with the old, in with the new, but not a smack on the you-know-what when they're going out the door. This had a different feel than at least what I remember.
It wasn't the best day for New York City. In my opinion, my humble opinion, it was not respectful of a mayor for 12 years service, the respect that should be paid. Now, you may like Bloomberg, you may not like Bloomberg, but he gave 12 years to the city. De Blasio did thank him, but some of those remarks, and you're right, you're correct, Richard, often there's someone that goes through every word that's said. If I were the mayor or the mayor's communications director, there's no way I would let those folks get up there and say what they did yesterday.
You knew what Harry Belafonte is going to say. I happen to.
You can't control him. He's a wild card.
But you chose him.
You chose him. Harry, you only got 1 minute. But the problem sometimes, you tell somebody they have 1 minute and they keep going, even with the threat of shutting down their mic. So you can't control Harry. He's an 800-pound gorilla.
Listen, we've taken Mayor Bloomberg to task here for more than a few things, but some of the stuff on the stage, and I think this populism thing, we can disagree on this, Bill. There's an appetite for this thing. I think a lot of people are watching closely. If done right, it might play. I think there's a reason why Bill Clinton and also Andrew Cuomo and Hillary Clinton were on the stage there. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there is a risk to it, too. And in New York City, you don't live without Wall Street. And if you create that stark a voice, you send the wrong message. They don't have to be there anymore.
I mean, this yesterday doesn't, or Monday didn't augur, the first didn't augur well for those who thought that de Blasio would run to the center after the campaign rhetoric. I mean, those were really stark words that were spoken, and you're exactly right. Any press department pre-checks the remarks that are going to be said. If you're choosing Harry Belafonte to go up there and give a speech, you're giving a message. Bill de Blasio already doesn't seem satisfied being mayor of New York. He wants to be the national leader of the progressive movement. That's what this is about. He's out there and he is not backing down from his stance. He wants to be a national figure, and this is the way he's going to do it. And the business community in New York City should be absolutely freaked out by what happened.
I'm not so sure that this is a quest to be the voice of progressivism across the country as much as it is the political battle and divide in New York City. He doesn't really have to kowtow to Republicans or to conservatives in New York City in order to get power. He needs to win over Democrats who are going to be more centrist-leaning. So I think this was a clarion call to them. I'm tacking left, and I'm not going to, that's where the divide in this city is going to be. It's been between the left and the center.
He's got 4 years to do that. On day one, he comes out there.
I don't get the strategy. Let's say you're even right, Andrew, that was the mission of it. At the end of the day, there's only two ways he's going to get money to get his universal pre-K. Albany's going to write check for it and governor's already said he's going to cut taxes, or two, he's going to raise tax on New York. If he's going with Plan B, I even get it if he's going with Plan B. Soft shoe a little bit. Don't demonize and then take the money. I don't get the play
I think
on
he's trying to play his 74% to its utmost advantage. He's got
but
this.
He needs the other
he's got this coming
26%.
through. No, I know, but he got 74% of the vote in the general election. He's trying to use that.
But I think
so.
Bill Thompson would have gotten 74% too. He would have. The Democrat was going to get 74%.
Richard, I really believe that Mr. de Blasio, with all due respect, and some Democrats are drinking the Kool-Aid.
Absolutely.
He didn't really win on message. He won because of a 16-year-old biracial kid that did a commercial for him. It wasn't his message. Let's not get this twisted.
And 20 years of Republicans.
Right.
And 20 years of Republicans, yes.
I think they were ready for a change. We'll find out. I think he sent a message with Bratton, okay, that he wasn't looking to upturn everything in the NYPD. But I do think I was really struck by the tone there because he had a choice. Everybody already knew he was the populist guy. I didn't have to prove it on the stage, but he doubled down there with some stuff. Plantation, otherwise known as New York City, brownstones versus brown skin. What's he doing?
Well, I think that I wouldn't have chosen those words, and I wouldn't have probably chosen a lot of the speakers. However, you have to remember that Bloomberg, as he departs, said that the primary things he wanted to talk about was keeping New York City safe, which basically was code for stop and frisk. And that hurts lots of people in New York City, and it hurts anybody that's a black or brown person who even goes into New York City.
But you know this, Mayo. He already won that fight.
That's correct.
He already knows going forward he doesn't have to fight that one. What he wants to do is he wants what everybody wants, which is some capital to spend on your big vision things. Universal pre-K is one of them, right? I don't know how that address helped him get what he wants. You need some honey. You don't just need the stick, you know?
Well, there still are a lot of people who want to see if what he said during the election is going to hold true. Is he really against stop and frisk? And, you know, he did choose Bratton, who more or less was the architect of stop and frisk. So he sort of, by making that decision, he created that the need to at least appease or to address people who are concerned about that issue.
Do I have time to get in the second part here? I'll do it in 30 seconds. I was surprised both of the Clintons and Cuomo were there. Forget that they worked on a campaign together. He worked on her campaign. I get all that. They went on the stage, and the only one was the guy on our screen here who tried to temper the remarks was Bill Clinton when he got up there to the microphone. This could be an interesting dance here for the next 4 years. They want the progressiveness, but I don't know if they want the whole kit and caboodle that goes along with it.
We just saw a picture of the screen of Bill de Blasio and Andrew Cuomo, and I think the message yesterday was as much to Andrew Cuomo as to anybody. Bill de Blasio and his coalition, which is made of the Working Families Party and others on the left, are challenging Andrew Cuomo directly. They're saying, we're not going to back down off this leftist message, and you need to budge here. And we'll see whether he does.
Right, but I don't think it's going to be Cuomo the one that's budging. I think Cuomo sitting there yesterday was probably saying, get me out of here. What are these nuts thinking? I really believe that's, knowing Andrew, I really believe that's what he was saying. Interesting dynamic between the Clintons and de Blasio. More about loyalty.
It's personal, yeah.
Right, it's personal.
Okay.
Personal.
Okay. This one's got nothing to do with politics when we get back here. There's between 6 to 12 inches of snow on the ground. Not a newsflash. Single digit temperature, it's going to be even lower when you get in the wind chills, not a lot of visibility, bad transit. You ready for some football? Well, I asked that because you know what? Coming to MetLife Stadium is the Super Bowl in a month's time here. We still all think this is a great idea. We'll talk about that after this.